Hi, well, Group 12. Based on analysis and learning during Scenario Week 1, as familiar, this is our definition of what a digital business is. The rapidly increasing numbers of members and videos have resulted in unexpected revenues of $1.65 billion in 2014. However, the current rapid international expansion carried out by Netflix, covering over 50 countries, is indeed very costly. Netflix has already planned to spend nearly $1 billion on marketing in 2016 for brand recognition purpose, and therefore this induced that profit expectations are lowered, just barely profitable net income basis in 2016. Now, instead of walking through the business model canvas, feel free to stop and evaluate our findings. We would like to answer the question, how are Netflix differentiating themselves with their digital IT strategy?
Starter, Netflix data analytics infrastructure, as seen on the picture, has the ability to move very quickly. And what do I quantitatively mean by this? Since 2009, the infrastructure have been executed entirely in Amazon's web services, AWS, cloud domain, which has allowed developers at Netflix to launch hundreds of software changes a day. Over 400 billion events are processed daily. By having Hadoop as the main digital platform, there have been no complex legacy systems to reconfigure, according to McKinsey. This has enabled Netflix developers to deploy new code into the production environment in hours, where most of the companies would need months. As coded by Netflix 2014, the customer base was able to expand. Another contributing factor to their success is Netflix's emphasis on automated monitoring. If anything goes wrong, for example, audio incorrect subtitles or encoding errors, traffic is routed back to the older versions and the new images are rolled back. In addition to eternal quality checks, Netflix uses real-time feedback from customers to ensure that content meets expectations. As this is unstructured data, it may be very noisy and contain non-issues, for example, feedbacks not related to quality. It can be either easy or hard task to process, as Netflix themselves describe. But by using smart machine learning models along natural language processing, NLP, and text mining techniques, Netflix can address errors and become, as they say themselves, self-healing ecosystem. Lessons we can draw are therefore that appropriate use of the cloud allows for scalability capabilities and flexible to expand based on traffic. Netflix has evidently built a service that can scale, which after careful consideration are the major differentiating factor driving their success. This does not so surprisingly steer us towards big data, which Netflix capitalizes on by collecting huge amounts of data points to infer probabilities about their users, including deep analysis and predictive algorithms. In collective screenings, they use real-time data analysis, big data for recommendation and ranking algorithms to satisfy their users. Machine learning algorithms are really at the heart of the recommendation and ranking engine, where data such as the following is collected. For example, tracking the plot when users rewind, pause, and geolocation, zip codes, and scrolling behavior, etc. According to Netflix, 75 of the videos watched by the users were on their recommendation site, produced and presented by their engine, proving its effectiveness. It was also used as a predictor of the series Orange is the New Black's success. It enabled Netflix to spend zero on traditional marketing because they knew how the users were going to behave. Data insights therefore leads to less money spending as well as more accurate business decisions in driving performance. This really serves as an illustrative example of the importance of data insights to drive more accurate business decisions. Pause for more examples. It is also very interesting to look at how Netflix make use of the big data analytics to decide which movies to license. How do they make sure that they have content that is creating value to different tastes, and how can it be fast enough when the new film is launched? According to Jenny McCabe, Director of Global Media Relations, Netflix aims to look for titles that deliver the biggest viewership relative to the licensing cost. This includes on both analytics but also human judgments. Hypothetically, a common decision that Netflix would face is whether to take one box hit like The Dark Knight or solo movies with the same actor and directors but not the costly hit to maximize user happiness. In order to predict whether a show is going to be successful or not, they have been studying piracy site to help decide which content to purchase. This has been a public ascertain strategy by Netflix, according to BBC, and as a result of this, Netflix picked Prison Break, which has been heavily deprioritized and was a successful film at Netflix.
Now, after analysis, we have identified the most essential trends and challenges related to previously talked about topics that can adversely affect Netflix market share, profitability, and revenues as following. Apart from our competitors as Amazon, Hulu Plus, and more, we have understood that there is a potential increase of adoption of piracy-based video offerings in the next 5 years that could adversely impact Netflix business on a global scale. Piracy-based models are certainly very attractive for users as they distribute content for free and have the potential to capture meaningful segments of Netflix market share. Bearing in mind the new terms initiated by Netflix that force users to log VPN services, a not so surprising consequence of this new policy may be a spur of the piracy entrants to take an increasingly market share. The other reason why piracy-based could become Netflix's largest competitors is that video piracy becomes easier, more reliable, and socially acceptable. We should draw the analogy and acknowledge the impact that piracy had on the music world in the last 15 years. This quote has been made in order to see the number of discussions around piracy for films, videos, TVs, or series in the world. We decided to look at the number of discussions according to countries. This highlighted the fact that Australia is the second country in the world with the biggest number of discussions around piracy and illegal streaming. This could be explained by the fact that they don't have access to a big number of legal streaming videos and films. As proved by a Unitel study, we know that our video distribution is geographically uneven, which is obviously handicapping Netflix, as people might be more interested in piracy than Netflix, as they will have a wider distribution of films more accessible. As we can see on this graph, Australia has only access to 1,220 unique titles compared to the US.
Challenge related to how to analytics can make Netflix more responsive to its content delivery, it's that the right owners do impose a significant constraint towards Netflix, which especially for premium content is often restricted to a geographical area when to be launched or not. As Informa Telecoms and Media 2014 have claimed, the players in the video entertainment industry where content providers such as Netflix, content holders such as TV networks, advertisers and end users coexist in the market. It is clear that no other player will have the revenue to severely disrupt the content status quo as it stands today. So this is basically neutralizing our analysis of the piracy-based competition. Also, another given constraint for Netflix is the limit in streaming in a given household, but by optimizing different quality of experience metrics, so-called Q&Es, such as bitrate versus read buffer rate, to better understand the user behavior. By serving content from the closest service is also a key role to improve streaming experience, where the CDN plays a major role. Not going too much in depth of how the CDN delivers content through catching and multicasting, etc., it is more interesting to take a look at the delivery side, where Netflix in 2014 have made efforts to limit the power of the content holders by launching Open Connect CDN to neutralize the network and get rid of third parties, and of course improve the streaming experience of the end user. ISP can directly connect to Netflix service without third-party providers, as said, and therefore localize substantial amounts of traffic. It is quite obvious that the market for entertainment video is intensely competitive and subject to rapid change, as we have already described. This involves a lot of uncertainty, of course, and especially for long-term prediction, but there are a few predictions I would like to make about Netflix. In a best-case scenario, Netflix will continue to see a steady growth rate, given the sensitive estimate of 5 to 6 billion million a year with a seasonal pattern. This will accelerate according to global expansion plan aimed to be completed in the next 2 years, with modest efforts in China, of course, due to complicated IP issues and lower broadband penetration rates.
In a worst-case scenario, if we listen to the CEO Hastings, internet would have killed TV in 25 years. However, according to Deloitte, the talk of the death or slow demise of TV is being exaggerated. The average of video watching is being maintained. However, we would expect advertisers to gradually cut spendings on television, which, according to the graph below, show a decline of TV ads and growth of spending towards digital outlets. As Netflix are commercial-free, this could cause damages to the company, as they might expect higher licensing prices for content holders, TV networks, which gets their margin squeezed. For strategic recommendation, we recommend Netflix to create more original programming. Following on 2014, when Netflix spent only $243 million, they should devote more resources for original content as Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, Narcos. This would enable them to cope with increasing prices of licenses from TV networks, as predicted, and exclusivity of content holders. However, creating more original programming is associated to many risks, as production, copyrights, IT-related issues, and of course unexpected costs that almost always happen while producing entertainment, as analyst Valerie Kaplan explains.
Investing heavily in streaming science, hence making sure to understand what impacts the Q&A has and the quality of experience, and continue to partner with ISPs while expanding internationally, where the Open Connect initiative play a crucial role. Netflix can ensure to deliver the content to the end user, which is in the end the main value proposition after all. By focusing on activities on improving the data processes, as talked about, and scale their Open Connect initiative, they will also take part in the bigger and more greater challenge of finding net neutrality that both users and the video and entertainment industry has longed for. Thanks. Feel free to go through our list of sources.